Hello everyone, I'm Rox from HealingWithRox, and I just wanted to make a short video today about cleansing of your crystals. It's a good place to start when you're learning about crystals, whether you've bought them from a shop or whether you've inherited them from a friend or a relative, or you've been lucky enough to find one somewhere. You should always cleanse them before you use them, and that's because crystals are transmitters of energy. So without going sort of too much into that, clear crystal quartz is used in modern technology as an oscillator. So to oscillate is to move back and forth non-mechanically in a regular rhythm. Technology uses oscillating frequencies from tiny quartz crystals that vibrate at certain speeds, and these power devices such as CDs, DVDs, computer processors, Ethernet and AM/FM radio. Each device carries its own signature vibration. It's also used to convert variations in a physical quantity, such as pressure or brightness, into an electrical signal or vice versa. So if you struggle to visualise that crystals can transmute energy, look up the inner workings of an entire range of modern technology that uses crystals to power them. It does. Alright, so on that basis there are lots of experiments and hypotheses being explored by scientists to measure thought and feelings. So thought is, at the very basic level, a perception of external light, shapes and sounds that hits our senses in one form of energy, sparking a chemical or electro reaction within the brain between synapses. This process can be observed with magnetic resonance imaging. Thoughts are therefore measurable energy, and so are feelings. Modern day studies are beginning to measure the existence and behaviour of our subtle body energy as well, so what might be referred to as our ethereal body or aura. So if our thoughts and feelings are energy, crystal can and does interact with that energy in much the same way as it does in technological processes, in radios and so on, for which it is commercially harnessed. That's the only bit I needed to read. So apologies if all that sounded a bit scripted, but I had to write that down so that I got all the information out. How crystals work isn't what this video is about, and I don't think there can be a definitive video about how crystals work, but we can talk a little bit about the theories. But if you imagine that they are absorbers and transmuters of energy, then any energy that's been hanging around crystals are going to remain until they're cleared, and that's the point. If you've had your crystals lying about in your bedroom like I do, next to your bed or on your bookcase or on the desk, wherever they may be, they've just been sat there in that environment, subject to the energy that's going on in that environment. So it's good to cleanse them before you use them again. And if you've just got them, it's always good practice to cleanse them. You don't know who's had them before, what's been going on in their life, what journey they've been on, what energy they've been around, and you just want to make sure that they're clean, clear, and ready to assist you in whatever journey you want to take with them. So there's a few ways, of cleansing crystals that we'll quickly run through now. The main one, and this is what I mean when I say you don't need any gadgets or gizmos to actually cleanse your crystals, is just your intention. If it was just you and a stone and you had nothing else to hand, you could still cleanse your crystals. And what you would do is just take them in your hand, as so. And you would just close your eyes and just imagine a bright white light infusing all through the crystals. The brightest white light you can ever imagine. If you have trouble visualising bright white light, selenite is good. That's why I've got some here. It's the closest thing between light and matter that there is. You can see the light hitting from my window making it seem really bright. It's a good one to visualise. Or if you have a candle lit and you imagine the flame of that candle, that bright burning flame, and then just intend that any energy that's been held is cleared, and you imagine that white light flowing down through the crystals. You'll soon feel them tingling on your hands. I can feel them now. I could end that video there. That cleanses your crystals. If you have the intention and the visualization, then that's fine. That intention always needs to be there, but there are some other good things that you can do if you have the means. So there's a few ways of thinking about it. First of all, of course, water is a great one, because water essentially showers the crystals. And that's a really good analogy to think of. Taking a shower, rinsing all the dirt and the grub and all the prior energy off you. So I've got some really high-tech equipment here, a measuring jug and some water and a bowl. I would love a fountain, crystal fountain in my lounge. That is a #crystalgoals. If you've got one, I'm very jealous. If you've got a little fountain in your garden, or there's a stream around the corner like I've got, the crystals love nature. They come from nature. So you can just pop them in the stream and let the water run over them, obviously making sure that it doesn't run away from you. So in this instance, I'm just putting my crystals in a bowl. I've got the intention that this water is going to be cleansing them. And same as we did with the white light, we're imagining that water is being infused with heavenly angelic light, cleansing the crystals for use. You can also run them under a tap. Running water is best. I wouldn't necessarily have had them in a bowl like that. I might have been holding them and the jug have the water pour over them, but there's no right or wrong. This is fine. Sound is another brilliant way to cleanse your crystals. So here, if you've got a singing bowl, then fabulous. If you've got a tuning fork, that would also work. You might even be able to get Tibetan singing bowls on YouTube, and that would work just as well. So we're talking about frequencies here, aren't we? Sound frequencies. You can't see with your eyes, but there is a frequency that travels through the crystal, because crystals are just made up of molecular lattices at their core level, and it's the sound energy that goes through them. So with your intention and the sound, that will also cleanse your crystals. Another way of doing it, and this is a really quick and easy way, if you've got any larger crystals, such as this piece of amethyst here, they actually serve as almost a battery charger for your smaller ones. And I didn't know that until I did my crystal course. It's a really good piece of knowledge to know. Obviously you have to make sure you've cleansed your bigger one, although the bigger ones don't need cleansing quite as often. And things like amethyst and selenite are quite good at self-cleansing because they're quite powerful. Amethyst is the stone of sobriety, so it's a protector, and it's a really good one to use for a charger, as is just plain crystal quartz, which is really strong. So simply with this method, you would just take your small tumble stones and place them on and leave them for a time, however long you want really, with the intention that they are to be cleansed, and that will also charge them as well. Now, you've probably heard people talk about salt when it comes to cleansing crystals. I'm not a massive fan of salt because my crystal teacher always told me that salt, being a crystal itself and therefore having an edge, I can't think of the actual term, which is annoying, I think it's cleavage actually, or it can damage the surfaces of other crystals. So if you are going to use salt, because I know that it's used a bit in Wicca for protection, then do a ring of salt like so, and place your crystals in the middle. I think it's best not to let your crystals touch the salt, so don't put them in a bowl of salt or rub them in salt, because depending on the surface cleavage of your crystal, you might get scratches and dents, and you don't want that. So water, salt, sound. Also, you can use smoke. So you can use smoke from incense, or you can use smoke from sage, which is what I'm using here today. Obviously, if you're using smoke and you have to light something, be very careful. That goes without saying. I hope I'm speaking to adults, and if I'm not, then just make sure that you've got the supervision of an adult, or you're not going to set your house on fire and sue me. I'm going to make that disclaimer now. So sage, this is really good for cleansing the air, as you probably know. Native American Indians have been doing it for years, and I believe that there's actually research that shows that they do alter the ions in the air. So this does actually have a cleansing effect, and for that very reason can also cleanse your stones. So if you want to hold them, you can do so. And you let the smoke infuse your crystals, all the while having the intention that they're being cleansed. Otherwise you're just waving about a smoking sage and holding a crystal. It's all about your intention, okay? Or if, like me, if you've got a bowl, you can just cleanse around the bowl. It smells really nice. Okay, so that's it for cleansing crystals. That just means that you essentially reset them to 0, ready to work with you. We'll talk about charging and programming another time, but tonight I am going to take my crystals and I'm going to put them out under the moon, under the full moon. So they've already had a water cleanse, they've already had a smoke cleanse, a salt cleanse, and a sound cleanse, but if you put them out under the full moon, that really cleanses them, refreshes them, ready to be used in your work with them. That's all. I've been Rox. Thank you very much for watching my video. See you next time.